How can you change sleep habits and move away from ones that you might call bad habits or unhelpful habits and put in place good sleep habits that will help you to overcome your sleep problems, overcome your long-term insomnia as well? In my practice, that's really what I do with clients on a daily basis. When I struggled with my insomnia, also those are the things that I had to really face and change so that my sleep can return back to normal as well. So I know that change isn't easy. I know that it comes with its own challenges. And in this video, I really want to help you unpack how do you even know which habits to change and really install good habits so that you can really start enjoying that improvement you see in your sleep. And a word of warning, this video will not include any quick things that might be instantaneously helping you to suddenly sleep really well. Change takes time, and I think what's really important in changing and putting in place good sleep habits is that you approach it with patience and a commitment to doing the work that it's required. So before we do that, obviously I wanted to welcome you back if you're a part of my community and you've been watching my videos for a period of time. If you are new to either my YouTube channel or my email community, then I'm very welcome to you. Through these videos, I help and support you to start figuring out what are the things you need to put in place to be able to really overcome your sleep problems and sleep well consistently for many years to come. So those of you who have not yet come across any of my videos before, and this is the first one, I'm also going to just quickly introduce myself. So my name is Beatrix Schmidt. I'm a sleep coach, a professional speaker, and the creator of the Sleep Skills for Life program, which is really a way for me to help people like you to have and develop that structured plan to really work through those changes you need to put in place to overcome the challenges you have. Now that we covered that, just one more thing to ask of you. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, join my email community, which is free of charge, so I can continue to support you with these videos as well. So let's go into today's topic, which is all about leaving behind old and perhaps unhelpful sleep habits and move towards and develop good sleep habits. Now, one of the misconceptions I often need to clear up with clients is how long does it actually even take to change a habit? You might have read articles about perhaps it takes 21 days. I have a view, and I've seen this in my practice all the time, that changing sleep habits and really getting you to a place when you sleep well consistently takes way longer than that. Now, it does not mean that during the process you don't see improvement, but it's really about making sure that we put in place all the necessary things so that you don't have to struggle with sleep in the future. And that often means we're not only going to be changing one or two habits, we're going to be addressing all the things that are either stopping you to be able to recover from the sleep problems or really be able to completely overcome them. So again, every single person is in a different place. But the first thing I always say to clients is that you need to be patient with the process. If you approach this process of changing sleep habits with impatience and think, you can overcome everything within a few days, then most likely what's going to happen is you're going to put an incredible amount of pressure on yourself to make sure that you really do it quickly. Quickly doesn't always mean that it's better and that it will last longer. So when I approach sleep changes and sleep habits, we want to make sure that first of all we do the right habit for the right reason and also that it delivers results. So that patience and the work you need to put in is needed. So instead of saying 21 days, normally how I start the process is let's just figure out where are you going? What is the end result that you actually really like to achieve? Because sometimes what happens when you don't really clearly understand where you want to go with it, you almost can lose track of what habits you're changing. Are you changing the appropriate habits? Are you bringing on board the appropriate good habits that will take you to your end result? So for example, at the beginning of my work, I set sleep goals with clients. And this is no way in any pressurizing thing to do. It's actually really giving you that clarity to know and to be able to then measure whether or not you are getting closer to the end goal by changing all the habits that you want to. So for example, let's take one sleep goal or part sleep goal in this video. Let's say you want to be able to fall asleep within 15 minutes. That's a very clear, tangible goal. That's a very clear way of measuring whether or not you got there or you didn't. We can all feel how long we've been awake for before we're actually be able to fall asleep. So if we take that case, then the first part of this is figuring out which habit stops you achieving that. So for example, it could be that maybe you are going to bed too early and you're not ready for sleep yet. It could be that maybe you're going to bed too late because you were really busy during the day and you haven't managed to finish all the things that you wanted to do, meaning you keep pushing your sleep time backwards to be able to finish the things you do. So you see, in this example straight away, we need to pick which one we're changing. Your circumstances will depend on really what is the baseline habit you want to change. Now let's say we want to be able to change the habit of always running out of time and extending the time and pushing sleep back. With that one, it's not directly what I would call a sleep habit. A lot of the times I see in my practice, what happens is your daytime starts interrupting what happens in the night or in the early evening. So for example, in this case, if you are incredibly busy and you always run out of time to do things, you might be packing your day in too much. So see, if we take this example, that it's not as much about exactly what time you go to bed. It's about first figuring out how you can actually maybe decrease the amount of things that you are doing, putting too much pressure on you, and therefore also pushing your sleep back when you get busy. And this is a really example of this. Really picking what habit to change is that first step. So in this case, it's not about picking what time you should go to bed. It's actually about sorting out how you can start perhaps maybe underestimating the length of time it takes to complete all the things you need. So then when we have that, and we're really clear on what habit we're changing, so again, whichever perhaps bad habit or unhelpful habit you're picking, I would just suggest you pick one. Break it down and pick one habit or sub-habit so that you know what is it that you're measuring, what is it that you're changing. And then when you have that, the next stage I always say to clients is to figure out when you're starting. So setting yourself to succeed is a big part of changing habits. If you just one day decide, right, I'm going to change that, but you don't prepare for it, often what happens is you get caught out. You maybe didn't make time for putting the effort into the habit. Maybe you actually don't know whether or not you can change that or you can put in place that new thing every single day. So the first part is setting a date of when you're going to start. When you're going to start changing and adjusting this habit or leaving the old one behind. So when you pick the date, the other thing I also want you to do is break down how long you're going to be doing it for. So often in my practice, what I do is we get into a weekly measurement, which is the sleep diary that I use. And when we look at a period of time, either over a week or over 10 days or over 2 weeks, you give yourself enough chance to even start putting in place this new habit or moving away from the old habit. If you don't set yourself up to succeed in that way and you don't allow yourself enough length of time to be able to instill a new habit, then most of the time what happens is you just revert back to the old, and then often the regret or perhaps self-judgment comes in. So that's a really great way to set yourself up to succeed, is you say, okay, I'm going to start this habit, let's say 3 days from now or a week from now, and I am going to commit doing it for, let's say, 2 weeks. Now, in my practice, I always encourage clients to do something every single day. the more frequently you practice the new habit or the new tool that you're instilling, the more likely that it's going to take you a shorter period of time to really become more mastered in it. Now, mastering a habit can take a long time, but when you really commit to doing something every single day, you're also going to be dealing with any of the resistances that comes up for you. And this is a really big part of changing habits. Changing habits will naturally come with resistances. You might not like or enjoy the new thing that you're putting in place just yet. You might do, but quite often what happens is your mind wants to get you back to the old things. So now that you've set yourself, let's say 2 weeks, the ultimately other part of this is to make sure you cheer yourself on the way and you're actually celebrating. So this is where I give clients the choices. Depending on what we're changing, sometimes it can be really hard to change that habit. I always go for, let's do 7 out of 7 days, because that will give you the highest chance. But if a client really struggles with something, I might say to them, well, let's start with 4 out of 7 days or 5 out of 7 days, meaning any 1 7-day period of time. Any less than that, you're not really moving forwards towards the goal. Often when you have less than 4 out of 7 days or 5 out of 7 days, excuses come and show up. So when you say, right, I'm going to do this new thing 4 out of 7 days, and celebrating every time you've done it or celebrating at the end of the 7-day period, then what you're doing is you're cheering yourself on this journey of changing habits. There's no point setting a foundation where you're always saying, yes, but I haven't, or self-judging or self-punishing for perhaps not being able to achieve that habit or achieve that change that day. So celebration and that reward system is a really crucial part of changing any habit. When you're able to cheer yourself on, you are going to continue after 7 days. And again, you're going to take the next 7 days and say, right, I'm going to do it instead of 4 out of 7 days, I'm going to do it 5 out of 7 days, let's say, if you're working towards the mastery. If you straight away put in place 7 days out of 7, then that's great. But it's important to sort of celebrate yourself throughout that journey. It does not mean that you have to buy yourself things or you have to sort of really celebrate in a major way. It could simply be to take a couple of moments once you've done something, this new habit, to say, you know what, well done me. I took the time, I've put myself first, I prioritized this, and look, I have completed it today. Well done. This can be a very great and easy and simple way for you to encourage yourself to keep moving forward. And then obviously once you had your period of time, let's say you set a 2-week period that you're installing a new habit, then what's really important is actually measure the outcome. I wouldn't measure the outcome every single day, but I would measure it after a period of either 10 days or 2 weeks, because instilling a new habit will not have a complete, perfect and ideal outcome straight away. What often happens is it gradually builds up. So bit by bit, your body and your mind gets used to the new habit. It starts actually embracing it more and more, and therefore it starts building the impact, the positive impact that you're seeing. So after, let's say 10 days or 2 weeks, you want to look at what you've done and see what impact you have seen. And this is one of the things that often people miss out on. They don't measure. If you're putting a habit in place, but you're not measuring how it's impacting the outcome, in this case your sleep, then how do you know that that habit is helpful and is going to actually really help you create a result? And that's really important. Please don't just pick a habit just because you've seen it or somebody says it. It has to be appropriate to the challenges that you have. In this case, which is what we picked, was falling asleep within a shorter period of time. If that is not relevant to the end goal that you want to achieve, then that habit is not going to be able to help you get close to it. Okay? And then once you have really gone through 2, 3, 4 weeks of time and you're really seeing the changes, What's then important is then build up on it. Instead of then maybe picking a different habit and putting something else in place in a totally different area of your sleep, let's say, you want to build on top of what you've already got and make sure that you actually achieve the outcome. Until you get to the outcome, you might need to put in place 1, 2, 3 different things, different habits, different tweaks, but get to your goal. And I think that's what's very, very important in setting any sort of intentions of changing habits. Good habits, good sleep habits will get you to your outcome consistently. It's going to be reliable. It's going to work for you every time. It's going to work for you as a human being rather than being patchy or unreliable. So this is how I normally break it down in terms of how to change a habit. Now, obviously, when I work with clients, it's over a period of several weeks. So this is just a shorter version of how I do that with clients, but all the bits and pieces that we really look at as parts of it are included in this video. So I really want you to think about changing habits and leaving behind sort of old habits in this way. It's a very practical way, and it also helps you to really keep moving forward because we're also helping you to cheerlead yourself along the journey as well. Okay, so if you like this video, hit the like button below. If you have not yet, then I would suggest you subscribe to my channel so I can continue sharing these videos with you and let you know when we post new ones, either on my YouTube channel or, as I mentioned, through my email community. So I really hope that this will help you to set yourself up to leaving old sleep habits, perhaps unhelpful or bad sleep habits behind, and creating really, really good ones so it can help you to finally overcome your sleep problems and insomnia as well. So thank you so much for watching.